There's 5 ultra critical things that we're going to talk about in this video that are going to make you definitively understand why right now is the hands down best buying opportunity that you're ever going to see in your entire life. I'm not BSing you. I'm not clickbaiting you. I don't care if you watch this video till the end. I'm here to make money. You're here to make money. So the market's been pretty much going straight down since the beginning of the year, down over 23% for the NASDAQ. But something just happened that not many people are talking about as to why the market is up 14% from that low. And the reason why the stock market fell so much is tariffs, recession, and how these companies are actually doing, especially in the technology field. So right now, in my opinion, is a generational wealth building opportunity that you're never ever going to see again in your entire life. So let's break down the 5 things. And the first thing I want to start out on is the Fear Greed Index. So right now the Fear Greed Index is at 35, which is still in a fearful category, but just a few weeks ago we were down here at a level of 4, which was deep in the extreme fear category. And you're probably wondering, like, how the heck did the Fear Greed Index go down so much? And that was because of Liberation Day. Trump put a crazy amount of tariffs on so many different countries that honestly nobody was expecting how high they were actually going to be. But then Trump flipped. Trump did a 90-day pause on every country except for China. And when that happened, the market rebounded very quickly. And the needle went from roughly 4 all the way back to 35 right now. So everybody wants to know, am I too late to the show? Did I miss the dip buy off the bottom? The answer is hands down no. Remember, be greedy when other people are fearful. People are still fearful right now, so it's still a good time to buy. And there is news that recently came out that nobody's really talking about. I'm very surprised about it. That once you understand this, you're going to understand that the economy is not actually as bad as what people think. So the Fear Greed Index is indicating right now is a good time to buy. Now, super quick on the second thing is a volatility index, which is the VIX. This is a 5-year chart right here. And you can see the volatility index spiked to an all-time high on this 5-year period right here because there's massive uncertainty in the market. So at a time that there's massive uncertainty in the market and the Fear Greed Index is very bearish, this is a great time to buy. People are being scared. People are selling all their stocks. People are capitulating and selling at the bottom. This is a very good time to buy. And remember, I'm building on everything right here because the whale is coming on number 5, which is exactly why we should buy right now. We shouldn't wait another day. We shouldn't wait for a trade deal to actually hit. We should buy right now and hold for the long run, and we will do very, very well. So I'm going to show you the stocks that I'm going to buy. I'm going to show you the ETFs that I'm going to buy, and I'm going to show you the option trades that I'm actually going to do in my $1 million account to capitalize on this trade setup. So I want to show you an interview of Howard Lutnick, who is in charge of negotiating these trade deals for Donald Trump. And this is no ordinary interview with Howard Lutnick. Howard Lutnick is literally saying, we have a massive trade deal pretty much done. And when this gets announced, the market is probably going to go straight up.
Well, Treasury Secretary Bessent is focused on China. That's his portfolio. He's got to get something done with China. And my portfolio is the rest of the world's trade deals. So they are.
That's a big portfolio.
Oh, it's the greatest thing because we have every country in the world, just like Donald Trump has said, who wants to do a deal with us. Now, here's the point. I have a deal. Done. But I need to wait for their prime minister and their parliament to give its approval, which I expect
country?
Shortly. Well, I'm not going to tell you what country. Let the president.
It's just you and me here and a couple of million people hopefully
I
watching.
let the president decide. So, and then there are country after country where we're just working through the details.
So remember, the VIX is high, there's extreme fear in the market right now, and there's potentially a massive trade deal coming through the pipeline right now. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think it's going to be China. I feel like it's going to be India. And yes, India is a massive, massive, massive country that if we get a fair trade deal with India, that is going to bring a lot of confidence back to the American stock market, the global economy, and the market could rip much, much higher. The market right now is so fearful. There's so many people just freaking out that when there's a big positive catalyst like a trade deal with India potentially coming out, the market is dying to go higher. So that could be a big opportunity to invest in the market right now before that trade deal comes out. And maybe by the time you're listening to this video, a trade deal may have already came out. But guess what? There's dozens of major companies that even if a trade deal with India or Japan comes through the woodwork right now, there's still massive trade deals to come. And the companies that just reported earnings are massively undervalued. The AI wave is coming over us like a tidal wave, and nobody sees it coming. And I truly feel like this is one of the last times to get in on this AI tech revolution that's happening right now before the stocks shoot up very high, before we get these trade deals made, before there's euphoria coming back to the market and it pretty much goes straight up. This is one of the last times to get into these companies at a fair valuation level, to deploy your stock options the right way, to deploy your share allocation allocation the right way to get into these companies right now. So I'm going to play the interview of Dan Ives. He breaks down a little bit of what Microsoft and what Meta just reported and a couple other companies that are massive that you can make a lot of money on in 2025. So let's listen to the interview.
Meta and Microsoft reporting moments ago, both stocks moving higher right now in overtime. Let's bring in Dan Ives, Wedbush Securities Global Head of Technology Research. Dan, I'm not sure which is the bigger deal here, the beats, big Azure quarter from Microsoft, big margin quarter for Meta, or the doubling down from Zuckerberg on data center hardware at a time when there are questions about whether big tech is going to pull back. What do you think?
Yeah, I think what you heard from Zuckerberg, I mean, those are CapEx words. They're going to be heard around the world and especially around the street because it just speaks to the worry that you're going to see big tech pull back. They're doubling down. And I think you'll hear the same from Nadella on the call as well. And this is just so important and crucial. I think crucial to the whole tech trade because that's where the spend. The AI revolution is not getting slowed down because of tariffs. And I think big tech is fueling that. And you look at these numbers. Look, I mean, this is a home run quarter across the board for big tech. Aaron Judge-like quarter, I think what we saw from Meta as well as Microsoft.
Now, we still got to get, Amazon and some others. We're going to hear from Apple soon as well. But on these cloud players that we're hearing from so far, is there enough confidence, despite the uncertainties that even Meta referred to on the regulatory front, and of course on the tariff front, that you think are going to give investors some confidence that, wow, if these big spenders continue to be confident, maybe I can too?
Yeah, John, that's a great set. I think the tech trade changes after these results because as an investor, the thing that I've heard over the last 3-4 weeks is, are they going to pull back? Can I have confidence in numbers second half? And you look at what we're seeing from the hyperscalers, and we've talked about in our checks, in some ways there's actually an acceleration. And you could say more and more resilient. It just shows enterprises are going full steam ahead because you don't want to lose your spot in line. Bullish for when it comes to Google, and obviously we saw GCP. Obviously what we're seeing with Azure, the 200-bit beep, and I think many thought that they were actually going to miss. And this is obviously a huge barometer going into Amazon, where I think you're going to have strong AWS numbers tomorrow. That is, if you're a bull, you just checked every box here in terms of what you're seeing. You'll see some caution, regulatory, of course, but relative to this Category 5 storm that we've seen, software, big tech, really holding up.
So I agree with what Dan Ives just said. The tech play is still there. We're just getting started with this tech and AI revolution, and companies like Meta are trading at 22 times trailing earnings, which is a very cheap valuation level, and they're growing earnings per share over 30% per year, and they have a lot of efficiencies coming into business, coming down the pipeline that are going to accelerate their earnings growth going forward. And remember, the number one thing that moves the price of a stock in the long run is what the actual earnings of the companies do. So if earnings go up, the stock price is probably going to follow. In the short term, stocks move up and down, and it doesn't always make sense. But in the long run, if you're a patient investor, you will make money if the earnings of a company rise. Now, I'm not trying to be bearish right now and rain down on our party, but we do have to listen to the interview that Donald Trump just said right now that could actually be very, very bearish for the market. We're going to weigh this against the positives, and then I'm going to give you an exclusive look into my stock sheet that not many people get to see unless you're a course member of all the dozens of companies that are on my watch list that I update this sheet in real time every single day of if a company is a buy or a sell to be able to make money on these trades, to set up these trades just right, to be able to set up your trades and make a crap ton of money. So let's listen to Donald Trump right now. Then I'm going to show you the stock sheet of exactly what's going on with these certain companies and if they're a buy or a sell.
But we have a Federal Reserve that wants to be stubborn. They want to be cute.
We'll get to that. You said something a couple weeks ago that struck me. You said concerning the tariffs, which economists say are going to raise prices. You said, quote, hang tough. It won't be easy. You said that to the American people. Is that what Americans expect, some hard times?
I've said that during my campaign. Look, we won a campaign by a lot. We won all 7 swing states. We won the popular vote by a lot. We had a tremendous campaign. I said all of these things during my campaign. I said, you're going to have a transition period. We've been ripped off by every country all over the world. They're laughing at us. They thought we were stupid people, and we were. And I said, that's not going to happen. We're not
But hard times are ahead?
I don't think so. I think great times are ahead. Look,
All right, so going over to the stock sheet, and full disclaimer, this is only updated at the time of recording this video. So you can see there's dozens and dozens of companies that I do very detailed breakdowns on every single quarter, if not more frequently, to know what the intrinsic value of the company is versus what the share price is. So this stock sheet is honestly very, very amazing because we know in real time every single day what a stock is trading at relative to its intrinsic value. And do we do a bullish play or do we do a bearish play? How do we capitalize on that stuff? So let's take a look at Meta just to see how it's doing versus everything else. So you can see Meta's intrinsic value is roughly $662 per share. The current share price is $549 per share, and it is up a little bit after hours. It's roughly at $570 per share. And you can see right here, 82% is the intrinsic value. So what that means is this: the intrinsic value is 662. It's currently trading at 549 based on these numbers right here. So Meta is roughly 18% below intrinsic value, meaning if it goes to intrinsic value, the stock price should technically go up 18%. Now, like I said, it is up a little bit after hours, roughly 5%, so this is going to be a little bit less in the morning when this updates, because these share prices update in real time throughout the day. You can see the formula up here, but they don't update for after hours. So this is a very good way to get a gauge on if something is over or undervalued, and I do these breakdowns all the time in Course Members Only Discord for everybody so that you know in real time, is something over or undervalued, and how do we capitalize on it? Now you're going to say, how are you coming out with this intrinsic value number? Well, this is what I do. So you have the trailing 12 months earnings per share, which is $25.64. I'm assigning an earnings per share growth rate percentage of 20% per year for the next 5 years in a row. So 2020, 2020, 5 years in a row, which I do feel like is very conservative because they just reported a 37% year-over-year earnings per share growth at a time that they have massive CapEx spending in their AI data center stuff. So when that spending slows down and they're going to start reaping the rewards of them data centers, the earnings per share is actually going to keep going up. So I feel like coming in at 20% is pretty conservative for the actual growth rate of Meta. Now you're going to say, where did I get this formula from? This formula is the exact formula that Benjamin Graham, who taught Warren Buffett how to invest, this is Benjamin Graham's revised intrinsic value formula, and Warren Buffett himself uses it. I am by no means saying this is the end-all be-all to invest and you just plug it in this calculator and it's good, but this is a very good way to get a general valuation level on a stock to know if it's over or undervalued. And when something is trading below 100% right here, meaning that it's on sale, I then do a deeper dive into it to comb through every single word on the financial statement, go through all their earnings calls to really understand this company on a very, very deep level. And then I report that in Course Members Only Discord. So if you want to get in on all that, click the link below, do my course, and then it's going to let you come into my Course Members Only Discord. It's going to change your life, I promise you. But if you don't want to do that, watch this video right here. It's the 10 critical things that you have to do right now to understand how to invest as a beginner in 2025. I'll see you guys there.